It's a yes-bank maximum, the first of this contest. Oh, that is brilliant. It's a hero maximum. On the ground, down the ground, another hero maximum.
Righto, welcome back to the Maximum Cricket Podcast. My name is Munter and we are joined by Lugsy and Jacko as always. Boys, how are we doing this evening? Very cold in Dunedin.
Yeah, quite wet here, but here the south's getting it real bad.
Yeah, very wet here, and as we talked about earlier, it's been a rough couple of days for us, and I don't think many people sort of can understand that in the country. Very rough day or two.
100%, and we won't elaborate on that any further. So this is episode number 44, which is a serious number. Tom Blundell averages 44. 43.6, but we'll round up. So that gives him the best average by a New Zealand wicketkeeper ever. Better than the white whale Ian Smith, better than Adam Perori, better than BJ Watling, and even better than Brendon McCullum.
Jeez, I hope Smitty's not tuning in for the first time this week.
Friend of the show, white whale.
Let's just confirm quickly in case he's listening. We mean white whale in terms of a guest we want on the show, not just a large white man.
It's a guest we need on the show.
Yeah, number one guest, yeah.
Yeah.
I just watched the movie The Whale actually recently, just completely off topic.
Oh, yeah, any good?
Interesting. I'd say interesting, yeah, worth a watch. It's quite harsh, I realised. Like, it hit a bit home, though, because he was, like, binge eating a fair bit, this large gentleman. I thought, this is me if I ever get an injury.
Yeah.
Are we still talking about a movie or a commentator?
This is the movie. Yeah, moving swiftly along from whale cheddar.
Okay, so anyways, the bottom line is Tom Blundell was very good. And what does he and us have in common, you might say? We are both powered by Piranha Grip Socks.
Brilliant.
They are a sponsor of the show today. It's time to check back into our international cricket power rankings. For those that didn't hear our first edition in December, basically it's our way of deciding who's the best team in the world cricket right now. And you might say that's what the rankings are for. Yes, but they're done over a 3-year period, and also they only have rankings for each format, not like an all-format ranking. And how does that work? We take into account current rankings, recent form, bit of gut feel, and since it's an ODI World Cup year, I've prioritised one-dayers over T20s, but as Test cricket is the pinnacle for the players, it has to be the pinnacle for us. So that immediately rules out a lot of the associate teams. Yes, Zimbabwe played a couple of tests against the Windies, so let's chuck them at 10. And Ireland are playing some tests in the subcontinent soon, so we'll rank them a little after. Boys, any questions before we crack into it?
It's mainly gut feel, though, isn't it? These sort of rankings.
Yeah, your gut's always right most of the time.
It's almost very similar to like a boxing sort of UFC, MMA pound for pound list.
Yeah, pound for pound. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, just you sort of get the odd feel, and then you just sort of you go off the gut.
Again, I've split these rankings into groups, 3 groups to be exact. And the premise of these groups is if world cricket was split into a 3-league structure, let's say like a top 5, bottom 5, and then like your associates in the Div 3. So let's start right at the bottom, everyone's favourite, the relegation zone, 8th and 9th. This could be short and sweet. I've gone with the West Indies at 8. One up from the December ranking, which means Bangladesh have fallen to 9. These are teams which can compete at times with bigger nations, but they're always at risk at being demoted to the Associate League. Since December, the West Indies have done the following. They've lost 2-0 in Australia. They beat Zimbabwe 1-0 in a test, or a couple of tests. They lost 2 tests in South Africa. They're currently 1-0 up in an ODI series against South Africa. So their rankings, T20's 7th, ODI's 10th, Test 8th. And with compare that to Bangladesh, they've played 3 series since December. They lost 2-0 at home to India in Tests. They lost 2-1 to England at home in ODIs. And they actually beat England 3-0 in T20s. So, boys, much else to add to our bottom 2.
just a bit concerning that West Indies didn't win that Test series 2-0, isn't it?
Who?
But,
Zimbabwe.
In Zimbabwe. Yeah, West Indies is flat though.
Should have done a bit more research there.
Bangladesh are quite good at home though, aren't they? So
that's the thing. I think
their series. I saw a listing of their series wins in white ball cricket at home over the last 2 or 3 years, and they actually beat quite a lot of good teams. So yeah, it's a coin toss, isn't it? But I might give it to Bangladesh just because they're good at home and they've just beaten England, who we're going to rank pretty highly here, I'd say. So would be my only factor.
Yeah, I think as we talked about in that series in Aussie, I think West Indies, especially in that series, were pretty horrendous, which I didn't rate. It's pretty unfortunate. One of the few teams that seem to have gone quite a wee way backwards over the last sort of 15, 20 years. So hopefully they've got another run in them. And as you say, Jacko, Bangladesh can be handy enough at home in these ODIs and T20s, especially as we're seeing against England. Sometimes you do find it'll be a series where maybe a big nation doesn't send their full squad, and if Bangladesh are more up for it, they can sort of sneak those. So sort of factoring that in. But I don't think too many people are going to argue about, except maybe their fans, about who's sort of 9 or 10 between these two sides, are they?
No, I guess what I landed on was that the West Indies have had tougher challenges, even though they've lost. Bangladesh have just played at home and they've lost all of it. But I guess a 3-0 is a 3-0, even though it's T20s and we don't care about T20s, and England didn't care that they lost a batsman and they just promoted a bowler to bat higher. But still, 3-0 is 3-0, isn't it?
Yeah, 3 is not bad. That's something against a big nation.
I feel like they could both be going down, to be honest.
Yeah, always fighting, always fighting. So I'll give Bangladesh the nod. I think you've convinced me. Okay, so our next bracket, they're our middle four. They you could probably split them up into 2 groups again, but they're teams that are fighting for promotion from Div 2 to Div 1. And also Div 1 falling into Div 2. And I reckon these 4 teams just kind of will constantly swap around depending on form. I want to start with Sri Lanka. I've got them at 7th. This is their form sheet. They obviously just lost 2-0 in New Zealand. They lost 2-1 in India in T20s. They lost 3-0 in India in some ODIs. They're ranked 8th in the T20s, 8th in the ODIs, and 7th in the Tests. I think they've stayed at 7th. I had them at 7th last time, but last time I had them knocking down the door of West Indies and Bangladesh, whereas this time they're knocking on the door of the top 6. And I think, if we're honest, it's a real sliding doors for a lot of teams if Sri Lanka win that first Test against New Zealand.
Yeah.
If they're up 1-0, they've got a chance at the World Test final. They may lose the next Test, but they're not going to just mail it in. And then, New Zealand goes down. And I think, Sri Lanka could be looking at 4 or 5 here. But as it stands, if you just look at it at face value, they lost 2-0. They lost 3-0 in India, and they've lost 3 series in 3 months. So not great. What do you guys make out of Sri Lanka?
Yeah, I think just it felt like they had the team to do it. They just couldn't quite sort of get it done. I think that's sort of where playing a team away from home in foreign conditions, just if they want to sort of be pushing in for promotion and staying away from that relegation battle, they've got to be better away from home. But yeah, they were impressive in New Zealand, but they just didn't have that sort of final blow to win the first Test, and then sort of they weren't much chop in the second Test. So yeah, they were close. They showed sort of an early season sparkle, but yeah, as things drew out, they just sort of nestled into 7th.
Yeah, I think you are right though, Munter. I think it's fair to say they're closer to our group than the other group now. If I put them at home, maybe in a series against Bangladesh or West Indies, I'd be pretty confident they'd dust them up quite nicely. Can't really throw a flag on them losing 3-0 in India. We'll touch on it a wee bit with this Aussie side over there at the moment. But in general, playing in India in one day, as they look almost impossible to beat unless you roll them, which can happen, obviously. And then, we'll touch on it, I guess, a little bit, that last game over here. Rice sort of sent a message through pretty early on day 2. Like, they looked a team pretty sort of done by the end of it. And I talked a bit about, like, you can tell when a team's pretty checked out when they're starting to field with their feet. And that was sort of a bit of a staple from Sri Lanka in that second test. It looked like it had just been a tour that sort of promised a bit. And if they had won that game, they would have been a lot more up for the second test. But when they had lost that one and suddenly we're sort of 250 for 2, it looked like heads dropped pretty quick, and there was a lot of time in the dirt, and they sort of just fell away a bit there. But as I say, if they got back home, I'd be fairly confident they're ahead of that other group and more closer to us.
It just felt like they put all their eggs in that first test. Like, there was so much to play for. They were so up for it. They were so prepared. Everything went to plan. And losing a game they probably should have won, and then not just losing that game, but then losing your chance to make the final. It just felt like they couldn't get up for the next test, which you still can't ignore the absolute hiding they took.
Oh, no, that's a poor result.
Still horrific.
It's unfortunate that happened, but we can't ignore it.
I mean, as you say, bottom line is they've lost a lot of matches over these few months, so it's quite a bit of promise. That's in result.
I've got another team that's lost a lot more than you'd think over the last few months. I've got Pakistan here. They're at 6. And I don't think Sri Lanka's that far away from them. So this is their run sheet from since December. They obviously lost 3-0 at home to England in Tests. They drew 0-0 against New Zealand at home in Tests. And they lost a home ODI series against New Zealand 2-1. Their T20 ranking's still 3rd, ODI's 5th, Test 6th. So Pakistan were 5th last time, and now they've fallen to 6th. And to win one game at home in 5 tests and 3 one-dayers is pretty poor. Yeah. So I think if Sri Lanka win that first test or even compete in that second test, they probably go ahead of Pakistan. But I don't have a lot to say on Pakistan because I feel like we've touched on them a bit. But they're a bit of an enigma. They've got talent, a lot of talent, but they struggle from just getting the right players on the park, I guess.
They feel like they should be what South Africa needs to be, which is like world-class bowlers but have some batting. But they just can't win. And you can't be losing series at home, especially to non-subcontinent teams who are so foreign to your conditions, like the way England and New Zealand play. I mean, to be a collective 3-0 in 5 tests to 2 sort of seam-friendly, sort of low, slow pitches, you've got to just be better than that at home if you want to move up in these power rankings.
You can't not win one of your 5 home tests, can you? That's a poor summer for anyone.
You got to schedule the Zimbabwe in there, don't you, for a couple of years?
Yeah, you got to throw something in there for them. Maybe they need to take a leaf out of India's book and bloody create a couple of dust bowls or something, because they created a few roads over there, and England sort of smoked them, took advantage of it, and they obviously themselves couldn't take the wickets. And then against us, I think we were pretty close to a pretty famous victory there, and so yeah, pretty poor when you look at the numbers, isn't it, for Pakistan?
Lucky we didn't have Dawley talking about Pakistan. He'd be away. Really been in the news, going at Babar and Rizwan as of late during the PSL.
Yeah, just trying to get that IPL gig bumped up, isn't he?
Yeah. He's taking a look at sort of modern media, what works in the big American market, and he said, "I'll lean into this. I'll start making a few hot takes, controversial statements, and I'll play the heel over there."
The Daily Mail will be signing him to an unlimited contract if he keeps bagging the Pakistan team.
Yeah. He's updating his LinkedIn saying anti-Pakistan, fit for the IPL. Right, let's move on to the next 2, and I think they're definitely a step above Pakistan and Sri Lanka. They're a strange one. Their form on paper looks like it's close to the big 3, but in reality, I think both of these sides have several flaws that bring them back to the pack. I think these 2 sides are going to be the ones that are sort of fighting to stay in Division 1 of world cricket. I've got New Zealand at 4, and I've got South Africa at 5. which I think could go either way. So South Africa have obviously jumped Pakistan. Let's start with New Zealand's form, which on paper looks a lot better than it feels. So we played, 6 tests. We only lost 1. So we drew 0-0 in Pakistan. We drew 1-1 versus England, which doesn't sound right. Like we're even with England at Test cricket, which
I don't want to interrupt while you're running it down, but I don't know if are we too close and maybe we're a better side than we realise, or are we actually on the money? And like if you're just looking at it from the outside, that's probably not the full story, because it is hard to get a read on where this New Zealand side is, because 3 Test wins on the trot, 2 of the most famous probably of all time. 1 complete dusting up of there, fought hard over in Pakistan for a couple of good draws. And then when you ran that through our one-day side a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at it like, this is all right. Very hard to get a read on us, isn't it?
I've got them at 4. Like it's not.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
But yeah, and I know what you mean. We are pretty close. It is hard to be subjective. Like you've really got to pull it back, and once you look at it, like it's just hard, because I think we've been used to competing with the big 3 as one of those top tier nations. I think because our golden era was consistently amongst that, and I think once you look at the world cricket stage and you see us sort of maybe coming down to the pack slowly, you realise that we're not the only ones, and there's some teams that are falling quicker, if you know what I mean.
And I guess like a big thing here is this could so easily be we lost 2-0 to England and it was 1-0 with Sri Lanka. And 1-0 with Sri Lanka sort of wouldn't feel a great result at home, especially after like the series draw with with Bangladesh, at home, series draw with South Africa at home. So I guess, yeah, it was good to, you sent a message for it. It's good to get back to the old Kiwi staple of the summer of just smoking a subcontinent side
just
once a year.
tuning up. Yeah, just tuning up a side. Not
like
really
word
for
association with cricket, you got like South Africa, good fielders, can't win at the World Cup. New Zealand, can't beat Aussie, but will dust up a subcontinent side.
Yeah, India won at home, etc.
Aussie can be a bit niggly.
Will chirp you.
Will chirp you.
I think New Zealand, we've just been such a good tournament side for the last sort of 4 or 5 years. So whenever there is these sort of measuring sticks of world cricket, we're always there or thereabouts, which is probably why we think, which is why we're like, hang on, we actually are a really good side, is because every sort of 2 years there's a World Cup and we're sort of measuring up with these sides and making finals and making semi-finals. So yeah, as you said, we're right there, but it does feel like we're sort of just regressing a little bit, sort of back to the pack, as opposed to sort of just slowly moving back to our median, as opposed to where we have been, which is probably, as you said, our golden era of New Zealand cricket.
And you can now run through the rest of our results if you like, Munter. Sorry for interrupting.
No. It's a hell of a point. You got a very good point, and I probably was definitely a touch on the negative side, but because if you think about it, because the other series we beat Pakistan at home in a one day series 2-1. We obviously lost 3-0 in India, and we lost 2-1 in T20s in India, but everyone's losing in India at this stage. Our T20 rankings 5th, ODI's 3rd, and Test 5th. And you compare that to South Africa, they got smoked in Australia 3-0. They've just beaten West Indies at home 2-0, so those are the 2 Test series. They've beaten England 2-1 at home, and the Western 2-1 at home in South Africa in the one-day internationals. They're currently down 0-1 to the West Indies at home, so see how that series goes. And their rankings are 4th in T20s, 6th in the ODIs, and 4th in the Test. So I think just with these 2 sides, they've got potential. Like with New Zealand, you look at this batting lineup on paper, like we got 5 of the top 6 in the top 20. Henry Nicholls just got a double ton.
Did he what?
Do you want sort of 5 minutes on Henry Nicholls there? You've probably been on the 20-minute mark. It's been a minute. You've probably been hanging out for a bit of Henry Nicholls.
Just proven right, wasn't I? Who's going to be better? No one. just feel. Do you know what do you know what this series feels like? I don't know if do you guys watch the first season of the Test when Aussie was sort of in turmoil, lost that series at home to India, and then they just come out and fucking shit raped Sri Lanka in the series, and it was like Patterson 100, Stark Pfeiffer, Joe Richardson Pfeiffer. It just feels like we've got that sort of moment back. So, good to have Towie back in form, and long may it continue.
I've just got a call in from Ricky Black. He's got some comments about this.
I might have to clip up Jackson last week admitting that Henry Nicholls should be dropped from 4 and just put those two side by side.
Yeah, 4 to bat 5, but also every clip of me defending him for the last year.
Yeah, we were sending a few messages through, and how good is a guy scoring runs when he's up against it, man?
God.
You feel their relief when they get that tick off the milestones.
Yeah.
They when 50 comes up, then the 100, and you're like, oh, it's got to be a hell of a feeling.
There's been some odd reactions to, I guess, some of the under pressure New Zealand players doing well. It feels like once you've got an opinion on someone that's based on facts, that's based on their results, there's a lot of people dying on that hill. There's heaps of people that were saying drop Henry Nicholls, do it against, doesn't count. It's not under pressure. It's like, well, he was under a lot of pressure. It's probably his last, he's probably getting dropped after that. So it's a lot of pressure personally, maybe not as a side. And I get Sri Lanka mailed it in, but you still got to be happy for him. And at the same breath, suggesting he needed to be dropped is also fair. The run of form is probably not acceptable. I can't imagine he thinks it's acceptable either.
I think the conversation of being had of maybe he does need to bat at 5 instead of 4, or a change in the order might have been. I think that's still a valid argument. I think he still will play his best cricket if he bats at 5, but we just need a genuine number 4. So the conversation's still there. But now that he's back in form, it's like, okay, where's his best spot in the order? And it might be at 5, and Darryl's could be at 4. So it's crazy how one innings sort of everyone discounts any argument of he's got to go.
And I think it's still fair, because I think there's a few people sort of still on him a bit that he's got to do it again, which I think you're allowed to have those conversations to say same with David Warner, I guess, when he got his double, you can't live on that for a long time. But I think it's sort of the negative jumping, when a guy's just got a double 100, jumping straight to that instead of just giving him his time is what sort of annoys you a bit. You're let this guy enjoy his double 100, and we'll have those conversations over the next few tests. But
it's like they would rather be right,
100%,
than the team do well.
Yeah. Rather see us fail, but at least I told you we were going to fail like this.
Yeah. So they can tell their mates, I told you.
Maybe get 4 or 5 likes in the Stuff article.
But it's just, and the thing about Henry Nicholls is he's done it. He's proved it once. He's proved it again. No one's questioning he's not a capable player. We just want to see it a little more often. And, hopefully when we play our next test in 7 months' time, we'll see that when we go to Bangladesh, which is proving to be, it's going to prove, just looking at the World Test Championship cycle, that's actually quite an important series for New Zealand right off the bat. Cause
we're gonna have to get very up for that, aren't we?
It's a fucking tough series.
Because who do we have? Bangladesh away, Aussie away, England away, or something?
No, we've got Bangladesh away, India away, Sri Lanka away, and we've got
we've got a tasty home southern.
England home, Australia home, South Africa home. So awesome for a fan. But if we're not on,
that's three teams that could peel us at home, and 3 teams we could struggle with away.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Or we have to beat Bangladesh. We've seen Sri Lanka's pretty tough, and I was just worried that
beat India too.
Yeah, I do worry that the selectors are going to look at this game, and it's good to see that some players did well, like Bracewell bowled well, Tickner bowled well. He looked better with Doug Bracewell alongside him. But you do worry that they look at this and go, they go the other way from these people where they're like, no, we were always right. It's like you can tweak some things. Like you can be vindicated in some of your selections, but to think that you've done nothing wrong, like bringing Scott Kugelheim out of nowhere, for one.
Yeah.
It's I guess circling back around is I guess why a lot of people have sort of maybe thought these results for New Zealand have been worse than they have been, or they are, is because we didn't like the year of Test cricket overall, like from going from champions to not even close to contention for the World Test Championship. Like that sort of really sticks out.
Yeah, and as you said, like there was such roller coasters in these games. Like there was moments where everyone was like, "Fuck, New Zealand cricket's done, burn the house down," and then like they fight their way back. Like it's such a different way of a result. Whereas like when we won that World Test Championship, we had the formula, like we had the set team. So it's obviously this team finding out like how they're going to win and who they're going to pick. So you hope this isn't yes, we've won 3 of the last 4 tests, this is our team. You hope it's like, well, what did we do that was successful in these games and what do we need to be better at? And then like develop and select based off of that, not just, oh, well, we won 3 or 4. So yeah, we'll play Tickner and Kugelheim in the same 11 in Bangladesh.
Do we want to move on to the coaching chat and as part of the Piranha proposal?
Yep, should we do that?
Piranha grip socks, non-slip grip technology designed to minimise slipping in your shoe and maximise output. Designed and tested right here in New Zealand by professional athletes. The choice of sock by several Black Caps and White Ferns, as well as the number 1 women's bowler in the world, Sophie Eccleston. Performance, quality and style. I'll tell you who has all those qualities right now. It's Brendon McCullum, who our Piranha proposal is centred around today. Grab yourself a pair of Piranha's latest range by using the code TMC20 to get 20% off today. I wanted to touch on the coaching for the Black Caps. A lot of hate towards Gary Stead and the coaching group. Obviously, that was being down 1-0 down to England, being asked to follow on. And that chat has sort of died down since we've won 3 tests. Or it's louder, depending on who you talk to. But however, Stead's contract's up at the end of the year, and he's gone on record to say the roles should be split. So it's fair to say he at least won't have both jobs. But as part of a conversation on who's next, Jacko, you mentioned last week that our white whale of coaches is just to bring Brendon McCullum back on board. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he is under contract to England cricket for however long. But what if that didn't matter? What if you guys could pick up the phone to Rob Key and propose a trade and get Brendon McCullum back? What would it cost you, and what would Brendon McCullum be worth to you guys?
What are we willing to give up?
What are we willing to give up? Yeah. Do you want to open up a first offer and see what you could pinch Brendon McCullum back off for?
My proposal will start with the broadcasting sort of associated with it, with Ian Smith as the main carrot in a package.
That's a great call.
That's a great start.
Imagine Ian Smith and Bumble. Just imagine that pairing. If you could line that up. So that's the carrot I'll dangle to Rob. And then, I don't know, would you throw in maybe like a Kyle Jamieson?
Wow.
As a player?
It's a big signing.
So you're saying that's a big signing, Munter, whereas, and I agree, but I think it has to be something that big. Firstly, when we're factoring this in, we can get many more years of coaching than you can a player. In fact, like if Brendon loves it and wants to keep doing it, there's no reason why you can't coach for 20 years. And obviously less likely in cricket, but you see it in like American sports, college sports especially. The same guys there for a long time, but. So I think it has to be something big if we're going to lure them back. I think my sort of idea would be I'd be talking to them and I'd say, look, you got to put a lot of faith that your players are doing a majority of this work. You set the culture, but the culture's there now, so you don't need them. You don't actually need them. You've got the culture yourself now. The players, Stokes will lead it for you. So So we're just willing to give up a couple of players or a player or two.
That's pretty good. Ian Smith, I'm not going to lie, that's caught me off guard, and I like it a lot. The thought of Cole Jameson, I will add, like, he is on the back of 2 stress fractures.
Yeah,
so
exactly. That's probably why I'm willing to part with him.
He's
just based off the injury history.
I'm just getting a report in from the hospital. He's fine. Yeah, he won't have these issues again. So that's really good.
Do you know how these trades work? Where we actually test them ourselves when we get them.
Don't be afraid to just take our word for it.
Okay, I like that. I just want a little bit more because like I will remind you that before Brendon McCullum was there,
all right,
1 test, 17.
That's your side, pal.
Yeah.
We're not quite that bad.
Okay, can I add in
McCullum back? I reckon.
Can I make a counter offer? Offer? So, Ian Smith, I'll take a flyer on Cole Jameson, and look, we're looking to upgrade our top 3.
Yeah,
I'd like Tom Latham.
Nah,
Tom Latham, Cole Jameson, Ian Smith for Brendon McCullum.
Can we counter your counter?
Sure can.
Because you and I, look, we've both seen the tape. Crawley's dog shit.
I think we all know that. We're behind the camera. We're behind the cameras. I can say what I want about him.
Yeah. But we've got a promising sort of a young opener. What about Kyle, Ian Smith, and Ratchin Ravinger? Just to, give you some exciting talent at the top of the order.
Look, I like it. However, like Jimmy's 40, Broad's 36. At times now, like with Ashes just around the corner, we don't have time to worry about a Rutch and Ravinder. We need proven performers. We need to get this over the line. If we're going to give up our secret sauce,
but I'd say you've got the recipe now. You've cooked the sauce a couple of times.
What if we take
sauce later, boys?
Okay, what if we'll drop KJ?
Yeah,
because I don't know if we really wanted him anyway. Like prime KJ, just the injury history.
Yeah. So you're wanting Tom Latham and
Ian Smith for Brendon McCullum.
Yes, that's tough.
I would probably say yes. I would probably say yes. If I was genuinely serious about this, like if this somehow could happen, what honestly do you reckon's what's a going rate for Brendon McCullum? How much would we want him to have him back? Because I dare say we would do that deal, wouldn't we, in New Zealand cricket?
We'd probably have to send a coach and it would have to be a star player. Probably would you go steady in a player? Would you have to go steady in a player because he's got a World Test Championship on his record?
Why would they want steady?
He's been out of a coach now.
He's just been out coached. Honestly, they'd probably want Colmay, if I'm honest. Like, I just didn't want to cripple the side.
Colmay for McCullum straight up. Who says no?
Fuck!
I think we say yes.
Yeah.
I think England say yes as well.
It's probably a measuring stick, isn't it? Which is tough because he's probably one of the best batters in the world at the moment.
Yeah, I can't sort of factor in enough how much, if you could get a few years out of McCullum and how much he's done for that English side. It would be it'd be fascinating to get behind the scenes at NZ Cricket and see what they would actually do for it if you could got a bit of truth serum in someone.
There'd be a lot of tampering, I give you that. Right, should we call it into the league? Colmay for McCullum, straight up. I like it. Good deal. Everyone's happy. Okay, should we move on to... did you want to touch on anything else with the coaching? Do you want to talk a bit more about anyone else but the coach or any other options?
No, I just think it is needed now to split it, isn't it? Like, you need a test coach and you need a white ball coach. I think the game is separate. The demands on these... I remember when Hessen quit, I think he said he had 8 nights at home, in his own home, in a year span. So I think that's just, like, in the world we live in, that's just too much. So yeah, I think splitting it is the direction you've got to go. Sort of hopefully we can get the resources together to sort of get 2 good packages together, to get 2 good coaches for it, because the last thing we want to do is split the resources, have 2 average packages and 2 like not quite right coaches. But yeah, I think it is time to split the role. everyone seems to be having some success with it to some degree. So yeah, definitely time to move in that direction.
I think that's it, mate. Like I feel like if in 5 years you haven't done this, you're just going to be behind the 8 ball. If you don't do it now, you're just going to find yourself looking up in a couple of seasons and realising everyone's else done it. As you said, the demand's changed and it's just sort of necessary now.
South Africa's just split them up. I see West Indies are advertising for 2 jobs. Everyone's starting to do it. Yeah. Didn't make the cut, unfortunately. But yeah, like you can look at it 2 ways. Where the test role, where we play so few tests, like that we can't pay a lot for that job. But what we can do is you have a lot of spare time to earn your money elsewhere. And like coaching that test team is almost like giving back to the game, giving back to New Zealand cricket. All these guys, all these former players, all these current players, they all talk about how we want to save test cricket. We want to do this, do that. You know, coaching a test nation is how you do that. Like I think someone like Stephen Fleming, and like, you know, he would be the perfect person, I think. And, you know, I don't know what's going on in his life, and I get he's busy with CSK, this, but this would be a perfect opportunity for him to give back New Zealand cricket, where it's not going to take him up, it's not going to take him away from his family all the time. He's going to have plenty of time to do CSK and all sort of carry on. He's also going to help out his country and help out Test cricket, which is a format that everyone keeps telling us that we want to save.
Look, if he's here commentating anyway,
why not? And I think it's crucial that whoever that Test captain is, it's Southie's guy. You know, like whether it's Fleming or not, like it's steady. It's not. He was already there. It's not his guy. I think it's Southie's team, and I think the team still looks like it's a Williamson's team, if I'm honest. And I think it needs to be Southie's team and a coach that helps him.
Definitely time for like a freshen up, split the roles, get 2 guys sort of motivated with visions for each format. And
last thing I'll say, it's actually a great time to split it up because it's like the signs are there that it needs to happen, but it hasn't. You know, like we haven't hit rock bottom by any means. It's not like we've hit the bottom and are changing. We're actually making a positive move while we're still in pretty good shape.
Right, Stephen. Third time in a row. Take the job. Righto. Shall we move on to the big 3?
Yeah.
No.
Your big 3s, your Man Cities, your Uniteds, your Liverpools, etc. The big teams, they have deep pockets. They have massive deep depth. They're always near the top. And now is no different. In fact, it's even better. It's even worse. I'll start with England at 3, which feels like a big drop from 1 in December. I think mainly it's because I think the other 2 are flying at the moment. If you do review these results at face value, it's not all great. Obviously, that 3-0 victory in Pakistan was incredible. In the end, they've drawn that series in New Zealand, 1-1. They've lost in South Africa 2-1 in the one-day internationals, and they beat Bangladesh in Bangladesh 2-1. They also lost 3-0 in the T20s. So, in a nutshell, they've played 5 series across 3 formats, and they've only won 2 of them, which doesn't sound great on face value. However, they should have won that second test against New Zealand. Another sliding doors moment. They don't feel like they give a shit about T20s at the moment, like with Will Jacks getting injured, and then they just don't replace him. So they give their bowlers more of a bat. And it's just, I know their form's not great in the one-days, but it's England, and they've got so much pedigree. They've got Root, they've got all these guys to come back. It's just, I'll have the other 2 ahead of them, but I'm not going to, they're nowhere near the middle of the pack for me.
They're definitely feeling like a LeBron's Cavs. Like a team that you know is better than what they're producing currently, and they're sort of just doing enough to make it to the big dance, and then they know they'll be fine once they get to the playoffs. So like they sort of are just, right, it's a World Cup year, one-day World Cup, T20s, we'll just get some guys improving. One-day cricket, we have been the best of the world at that for so long. We know how to perform in that environment, so we're just sort of everyone's doing what they need to peak at that time. But yeah, for now, that sort of sees them drop in the rankings. But yeah, everyone knows that come that World Cup, they'll be humming along and a real problem.
Yeah, as you said, it's you've got to factor in results at some point. So I think they definitely deserve to be at third there. But yeah, as you talked about, could have easily been 2-0 against us, which would have been a pretty handy series win, really, across over here, on the back of 3 massive wins in Pakistan. And as you say, you just can't help but not seeing them have results in come World Cup time. It's actually almost like a credit to their depth that they were playing tests over here and one day is over in bloody Africa and Bangladesh. It's amazing that their group can be so, they've got that many players to pull from. That's a real split of test team, one day team. And when you factor in their big guns of that one day side that are in the test team, they're going to come back. They'll be there or thereabouts come the World Cup.
Yeah, it's. I think Jacko nailed it. Where they're a 52 win team, Cavs outfit. They come in, they're at fourth. They come in at fourth, and then they turn it on when it really matters. And I still think got them. I still think they'll win the Ashes, but there are some. I guess when you look at their team on paper compared to Australia and India, there's more cracks in the side, the top 3, and you're more just picking them on vibes, feel, if you know what I mean, which is what this is all about.
Sometimes a team's got the hot hand for a year or two, don't they?
Yeah.
It just feels like it's still a bit of their time at the moment. So that Aussie series is going to be a real big.
Fuck, this Ashes is going to be good.
Definitely. It's going to be special. And like I said, these other 2 teams, things are going to really change when we get through the English summer. We've got the World Test Championship final, India versus Australia, and then we've got the Ashes. I think after that, it's going to be a very comprehensive list by then. I think the top 3 sides are really going to even themselves out. So, because you look at these top 2, the form guide is ridiculous. You got Australia, 2-0 whitewash against West Indies, 3-0 whitewash against South Africa. They lost 2-1 in India after being 2-0 down. I think that's pretty good. It's 1-0 in the one-day series, including one of the biggest fucking hidings I've ever seen from a team that's gone to India. India's full strength almost.
Do yourself a favour if anyone's got a spare 15 minutes and watch those highlights. Hell of a package.
It's incredible. Mitchell Starc, honestly, his stats in one-day cricket are ridiculous.
He's so good. It's unbelievable how good he can be.
I just get flashbacks to Eden Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're just going to have we talk about that game now, we might as well.
Yeah.
They're 29 for 1 off 3 overs. Kohli's just hit Stark for 2 boundaries. And I'm thinking, this is just exactly what it looked like when we played them. India's going to score minimum 350 if they're batting first every time. Suddenly, Steve Smith takes a couple of absolute rippers. Stark's bowling those in-swingers where it feels like he's going to get a wicket every nut. Cleans out Sky again. So they roll them and then they come out to bat. And Mitch Marsh just plays one of those innings where he can play them a bit now. And when he's in form, he looks so impressive. Just hits through the line. Doesn't even have to hit it well and it goes.
The power Mitchell Marsh has is ridiculous. I don't think anyone can hit the ball that hard when he's going. It's just absolutely insane.
I tell you what, I know we talked about it a bit last time, but there is nothing. That Indian crowd is such a weird level of when a guy gets a golden duck in New Zealand and guys will be there'll be a bit of an outrage, what the fuck? Or also Indian fans just stand there in absolute shock, just gutted.
Just pure disbelief.
Genuine disbelief. A few Kiwi fans would throw a beer around, a few curse words, move on.
Post on Facebook.
Sky's failed, and I've seen guys really questioning everything.
Grown men crying sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there were times doing my reviews that I felt like that, to be fair, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I mean, you look at Australia who are flying, and then India, they were flying as well. They they were in Bangladesh. They beat them 2-0. Obviously, they won that series 2-1 against Aussie. In T20s, they won a series against Sri Lanka, won a series against New Zealand. They beat Sri Lanka 3-0 in one days. They beat New Zealand 3-0 in one days. And obviously, it's 1-0 against Aussie. Their rankings, ICC rankings at the moment, India, T20s first, ODIs first, Test second.
Handy.
So it's like the thing about India is like they should be the best team in the world right now on paper, but I just had Australia ahead.
Yeah, I've got Aussie as well. No, it almost feels like Aussie sticking it, like competing this hard in India gives like even losing a few just makes it that much more impressive where they're at, because that's how dominant India have been at home. It just makes you feel like that's why you're just like, oh well, fuck, if India's that good at home against everyone else and Aussie's right there sticking it to them, like what is Aussie going to do to them anywhere else in the world, sort of thing?
Yeah, and it's like it's that last, the end of those two series, the Test series and that last one day, it's just can't ignore, especially that one day, how much of a hiding it was. Like I get that India kind of checked out in the run chase. Like we got Shami like dropping that absolute goober because he obviously didn't care anymore.
I don't know why he jumped at the ball. That was an offside.
It was so unnecessary.
Wanted to get there quicker.
So poor, but it's just, I don't know, and it's like somehow India won that series, but Australia looked better. Like it doesn't, like they could have, Australia probably could have won that second test, and then you're looking at a flip at a series win. I don't think Australia were that far away, and Australia doing well almost, it sort of pokes a hole in their like invincibility at home. Like it's just like, oh, you can't actually make them bleed.
It's just so weird the way that series played out though, because after two tests, if it had ended 4-0, I wouldn't have been shocked. Like if you had told me that, because I thought maybe that second test was their chance and they blew it, and then like it sort of sucked the air out of the series a wee bit. And that's why I actually thought, with not a lot to play for at that point, the way they fought hard those last two tests was actually really impressive. And even that one day, it's like the thing that separates them a wee bit. Like I'll just use us for example. Like I just don't see us playing that sort of tough, finding a way to win one day or finding a way to win test match just at the moment. I think that's where they just separate a wee bit.
They've got an unbelievable sort of mental resolve. Like in their own plans, like they were facing all sorts of abuse and criticism from like former players, from the media, from fans, and
podcast.
we were pretty light. The former players were pretty bad, and it's for them just to turn it around mid tour, like you said, you would have thought 4-0, like things were just going pear-shaped. And I've just got this feeling that this is a special Aussie side coming through, like particularly the test side anyway. Like I think they're the best test team in the world, all conditions,
but you've got England winning the Ashes.
Well, that's the thing. It's like
it feels weirdly like, you know how you sort of said we'll have clarity after this year. It feels like this could make the top three even more muddled. Like it feels like Aussie could win the Test Championship, England win the Ashes 3-2, and India win the World Cup at home, and then it's like, well, fuck, they're all just as good as each other still.
You know, that genuinely wouldn't be like outrageous either by any stretch.
If you were like putting together a multi, that's probably the best odds of those three things.
It could be the TMC multi of the year.
Lock her in. But
you just chuck 2 on that, wouldn't you?
Fuck, could be paying a bit. But TMC's not quite going into the betting formats yet. But you know, if a betting agency wants to sponsor us,
in 6 months if that comes in, we'll be all launching into it.
Oh, for sure. But I think that's why the Ashes is exciting.
WWE WWE's getting on board with betting, and that's scripted. So, I mean,
That is outrageous.
I can't believe what's going on there.
How's that going to work?
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, if I'm knowing I'm about to lose, I'm talking to the boys and being like, "Yeah, lads, I'm going down tonight. You might want to put a hundy fair on someone on the other guy."
That's just. I mean, because the thing is, like, people always question fixing in cricket all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and it's, you know, it's got a bit of history. Like, how's that going to work in wrestling when people know that it is fixed?
Yeah.
It's above my pay grade, but it's a bit of fun.
Yeah. But, you know, anyway, I guess that's why the Ashes is going to be so exciting, because you've got Australia peaking, England peaking, and they can't both be peaking afterwards.
Only one comes out of that as the best test team in the world, don't they, really?
100%. So anything else you guys want to touch on those top three or the rankings at all?
No, I think we've got that nailed down where the game is at.
Yeah, I think it's a good exercise to do every few months, actually.
Yeah, just take stock of things. So, like, just to recap the rankings, we've got Aussie at 1, India 2, England 3, New Zealand 4, South Africa 5, Pakistan 6, Sri Lanka 7, actually, you guys bumped me out, which is fine. We'll go Bangladesh 8 and West Indies 9. Snack draft. Boys, last week, Lugsy, you're 3-0, buddy. This is a serious run you took. It felt like you took not becoming the TNC's best snacker last year to heart.
Revenge season, baby.
Yeah, revenge season. It is a bit like that. It's kind of like they didn't rate you, and you've come in hot. You know, you got a bit of Memphis Grizzlies about you, and like people start, like the haters are starting to get onto you in a bit now. Do you just want a wee victory?
Yeah, the gun on my IG last week.
Yeah, are you flashing your piece around, are you?
I did look. I took stock last year, and I watched The Last Dance on repeat a couple of times, and I thought I've got to get a bit stronger here, get a bit of FU about my game. So, on a wee bit of, obviously, I think getting Coke, huge win for me. I knew a lot of people would sort of go, because it's not everyone really is with Coke.
It was closer than we thought.
Yeah, I thought it would be, just with the sort of defending opinions about fizzy drinks, but yeah, very happy to win that one. As I say, a very personal one with my love of the black gold.
Some serious hate mail out there for the old zero sugar Coke, though. Jesus.
Real love-hate sort of relationship, because I got a lot of love towards Coke Zero and a lot of hate.
I think that's pretty fair, actually, as a drink, because purists are just, it's full sugar.
Yeah.
But then you've got a lot of the sort of the community that wants to think they're being healthy. So I'll go with no sugar drink and get that in me, and you get support from those guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll have a 2 Big Macs, but I'll have Coke Zero Sugar.
Yeah,
so
I also have large Mac Attack, thanks, but make it no sugar.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. So Lugsy, what are we running this week?
Yeah, look, I took a bit of criticism for my choice of condiment with my chicken nuggets the other week, and I thought that was very fair, actually. But it took me on the role of the condiment option, and let's talk about sauces.
Are you trying to say condiment?
Additional snack, but certainly something that can accompany a snack. So yeah, let's lock it in.
What are we saying, Jack?
Yeah, sorry. Crom, are you trying to say condiment or?
What have I gone with?
I don't know. Like almost continent?
I thought it sounded like Cumberland or something like that.
I thought we were choosing between like Africa, Europe, China.
This is classic. Like we're losing, so we're going to try and bring them down or not.
We're falling off sources. We're going sources for the listeners.
I genuinely thought I nailed it, and I was just worried you were going to try and get me to spell it. Then we're doing real strong.
Oh, shit. Okay, so we're going to run the lottery system again. So for those at home, since I came in last, my odds are at 50% for the first pick. Jacko came in second. He has a 33% chance, or 33. And Lugsy still has an option. He has a 17% chance for the number one pick. So I've got here, you guys won't see it at home, but I've got a wee number wheel option, that nicely delicate option, which I will spin for us now. Okay, so you ready, boys?
Yeah, mate.
Ready.
Right, so there's a spin. Oh, no way. No fucking way. Lugsy has pinned it again. This
is like the Cavs. The Cavs from a few years ago, number one draft pick.
This man has come away with those odds. That is ridiculous.
Like, you create your own luck.
Holy heck, yeah. To be fair, this is one I actually didn't want the number one pick. So
yeah, I have no idea.
Tell you what, I've got a hell of a list.
It's not like the Coke draft where your number one's basically guaranteed.
Almost is, I reckon.
I absolutely love sauce, by the way.
Oh fuck, sauce is that good.
Absolutely makes everything. Righto, the next pick will be, just spinning it now, Munter. Righto, second pick. Okay, that's not a bad pick. Good pick. Pretty happy with that. So I'll take the number 2. Lugsy with the number 1 pick, and Jacko will be bringing up the rear. Lugsy, you've got the board.
Yeah, pleasure to have it. This is an interesting one because when I first thought sauces, obviously I thought of all the sort of the sauces that go with your chips, these sort of things, and I talked less about the sort of stir fry sauces.
Yeah.
But that's actually where I ended up. And they don't call me Satay Simon for nothing. It is going to be hard because I'm not 100% on the spelling, of the how you pronounce this sauce, but I'm going your peanut satay sauce up number 1. There is one, I'll take the satay. There's one in particular that tastes like you can get at New World, and it tastes exactly like how they do it at all the Japanese restaurants. So I'll have to give you the spelling, and once you've got it on the board, Munter.
Yeah, send it through.
Your sort of your monsoon KHMER satay sauce. It is the best in the business.
Wow.
Pricey, but the best in the business.
All right. Okay. All right. So you've gone with a specialist option, sort of the top, like the best 3-point shooter, which is fine. I've gone for someone a little bit more versatile that you can have on chips. You can have in a sandwich. Pretty much I'll have it on everything. Yeah. And this is going to be one of those ones where everyone's going to get their first pick, I think. Talking to Jacko in the past, and producer Gav will know that me and my wife, or just my partner back at the time, we would go through a bottle of mayonnaise a week, particularly your best foods mayonnaise. Yeah. So I'm going mayonnaise. You can't go wrong with it. It's so many. Like, you can have it with so many things. I have it with too many things, but that's what I'm running with today.
Just piggyback on that. How much better is Best Foods mayo than the rest?
It's key. Yeah. That is key because we ran out of Best Foods yesterday. Had to do a quick run to the dairy. Picked up that countdown stuff, and it's strictly sandwich stuff at that point. Yeah. Like, you can't have it with chips. It's dreadful.
Yeah, I tell you what, chips and mayo is actually a little bit controversial to squat in some circles. Not for me personally, but in some circles, chips and mayo is a little bit suspect.
Which is very funny because chips in my first pick, which will be aioli, seems to be just a home run.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like mayo chips, bit on the fence, but mayo chips and aioli is like out the gate good. So
just basically adding mayo with garlic.
Lemon juice as well, thank you.
Lemon juice, so yeah.
So I think aioli's just got to be taken there. Yeah. And then, my list of sauces is all time here just quietly. I had about 12 options, and they're all very, very good. But I think next I'll go what is an absolute Kiwi staple, and that sweet and sour sauce, and particularly McDonald's sweet and sour sauce that goes with your nuggies.
That hurts me.
Yeah, I think
Lugsy doesn't have that though. He has barbecue with his
which is
nuggies.
fucking criminal, absolutely criminal. And I think
I said I was wrong. I admitted my mistake.
He absolutely copped it as well. I only had like 3 comments on that video, and 2 of them were spraying Lugsy.
I think in terms of a universally loved sauce, I think sweet and sour McDonald's would be like sort of top 3 in a lot of people's around the world's. So yeah, very happy with my 1-2 punch there.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good option. There's a lot on the board, eh?
There is so much. This draft is so deep.
Okay, this one is... Don't know. No, I might save that one. I might save this one. I'm going to go with one that I think you can use with nuggets, but it's not preferred with nuggets, apparently. But I like to use it on burgers, on sausages, good for barbecues, which is ironic because it's called barbecue sauce.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Definitely, I often use barbecue and mayo in one sandwich. That's a real good combo for me, like a chicken burger combo. Like a meat goes, like the barbecue goes with the meat, mayo goes with the lettuce, and you've got yourself a burger. So I'm going to go with your barbecue sauce.
I can't. I mean, barbecue sauce, absolutely staple. Goes with everything.
Yeah, brilliant sauce.
I'm similar. I'm like Sri Lanka in the field here on the test. I'm a bit rattled and a bit unsure what to do here.
So many options.
There's a lot of options, but I'm like, do they hit? What hits me here? No, I need a quick ruling on what we're doing with like, is peri, like, you know how you get a peri swirl sort of with your Dominoes. Is peri its own, or are we going peri and mayo? Is mayonnaise sort of taken out all the srirachas, all that sort of...
I think the spicy mayos, yeah, because, I mean, we allowed aioli, so you've got to be able to allow, like, a peri mayo.
Oh, then I'm absolutely back in the game with the... again, I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce this one. Is it your Keepy or Keepy?
Yeah, QP.
Yeah, QP. I mean, that spicy mayo or sriracha, whatever. I mean, that's
all time.
That's a jar every hushy for us, and when the leftovers happen, I clean that right up
on a bit of toast.
Look, I'm not afraid to put sauce on toast. Okay, it's not an absolute go-to, but I don't understand how it's not allowed on toast. But a slight bit of meat to it, and suddenly it's all good. I see no issue there. So I'm very happy just quietly to have that at number 2. That's
great pickup.
That's a great pickup. So let me just go off my gut then on a. I could throw this away, I reckon, with a rough sweet chili pick or something.
The third pick is always like everyone just feels themselves a wee bit, eh?
I think a part. I don't want to. Yeah, look, because I've done it so much lately, I'm going to bugger it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go. Look, I had a pick on my head that I thought might please the crowd a bit, and I've eaten it a lot lately, but I can't do it to myself. And I'm feeling myself, and I'm going a steak sauce. I think steak sauce is one of the most underrated sauces out.
Yeah, interesting.
Absolutely.
Is that different than barbecue sauce, or is that
slightly?
I think very different.
Yeah.
I mean, not very different, but.
Okay, no, that's all right.
I can't wait to find out what this pick you thought about going for is later.
Oh, the big dog sort of pick. It might get picked up, and I think it could actually swing the draft.
To confirm, because Lugsy, you went satay sauce, so that means we're going to open up like sauce, like sort of hot sauces.
Yeah,
like cook sauces.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, sweet as. Oh, I had a lot on the board, to be fair.
Yeah,
but I'm going to go something I had tonight, actually. Something that's pretty high on most people's chicken and rice sort of list. Yeah. I'm going to go butter chicken sauce.
Well, is that a sauce? Or?
I thought you were lining up there for something else, but I mean,
Is that not a sauce? Is butter chicken sauce, but satay sauce is a sauce?
Well, satay sauce you can actually buy in a jar. Can you go down to the soupy and buy butter chicken sauce?
I mean, what about a chicken pie?
Have you never cooked?
We're talking sauce.
Have you never cooked? Like, how do you think it?
Oh, it's a valid point.
How do you think it gets around the meat and stuff like that? Like you buy it in a can. It's butter chicken. And
that's very fair.
I'll give it to you.
I'd like to know what brand that, because I think this is one thing where there is a big difference between a bought butter chicken and a New World sauce.
Oh, I mean, obviously, yeah, stuff at heart, like, yeah, I mean, that's going to be different. But I think the one we go with is the Waddies option. There's another one that's good. It's Purple Label. Can't remember. It's a little more spicy. But yeah, bit of naan bread, bit of naan bread.
It's one of the great tastes on planet Earth.
Yeah.
So you've just picked a meal and butter chicken. So that's noted.
Jesus Christ.
Make sure you leave this in, Gav.
Shit. Oh, what are you running there, Jacko?
Fuck. I haven't even scratched the surface of what's on my list here.
We need some honourable mentions afterwards.
Yeah.
I reckon save them and we'll do a redraftable.
Yeah, I reckon we could go two or three rounds here. Yeah, I thought you were going to go. Oh, fuck. I'm going to go gravy.
Oh, that's a fantastic. That is an unbelievable pick.
How good is just gravy on anything like roast, bangers and mash, leftover sandwiches with gravy in it after Christmas.
Let's be fair though, you've got to pick a brand here.
I never said you had to pick a brand.
No, you don't have to. It just can enhance your
helps.
pick.
But I mean, your homemade gravy, just from your roast pan, bit of flour, bit of water, bit of Marmite maybe. But just fucking what an absolute just sauce. Even sometimes when you're at the pub and the fries come out, there's a little thing of gravy there. Like it's just lifts everything.
I wish that became more of a staple in our pubs, though.
Yeah.
I tell you what, that is a steal. That is a massive
I could have got that at one and been happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, gravy.
I could have got it at 30 though, because I wouldn't have even thought of picking gravy.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought it either. So it wasn't on my board. So what else do we miss on the board? Because I tell you what, one I was going to pick before Lugsy went satay, open up a whole new world. I was going to go like hollandaise.
Yeah, hollandaise is great. I sort of had teriyaki down. That's where I thought you were sort of going to go with your pick there, Munter. Just Heinz ketchup as well. I
was going to say we've missed tomato, sweet chili, like your real staples.
I just had straight peri peri from Nando's.
Soy sauce,
brilliant. And then I just thought of it then, but we really just missed the dessert sauces too.
Ooh.
Sort of just really flew by. I was actually going to go a chocolate sauce there at the end, but
that would have been outrageous.
Sort of thought I'd stay savoury, but I think we could have missed a wee trick with the old the sweet options. But yeah, I'm happy with gravy. But fuck, aioli, sweet and sour, and chocolate would have been a great 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, just looking at this, I do like Jacko's pick here. So if Jacko wins from the third pick, I think that shows how deep this draft is.
Oh, yeah. My list is massive still of unpicked. So
it does sound like you've done a lot more research than most.
Yeah.
And really thought outside the box, which I like.
Yeah.
Okay, righto. Should we wrap it up for another week?
Yep. Sounds good.
Righto, that's us for another week. Team, if you like what we do, and if you're listening now, you probably do, check out our Patreon to support us, get some early releases. Otherwise, give us a rating review, 5-star on Spotify, 5-star on Apple, chuck us a review, ask a question, we'll answer it. Next week, we've got an IPR special. Yeah, that's it. So look forward to that. Thank you to Lugsy, thank you to Jacko, and thank you to everyone else that listened. Catch you next week.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah,